Hello, everyone. Today is September 21st, 2022. This is the Kubernetes Data Protection Working Group meeting. Today, we will do some CAP updates. And of course, if you have any open issues, we could also go over those at the end. With that, Ivan, you want to go first?
Yeah, I can provide.
You want to maybe let me stop sharing. Maybe if you want to share anything, let me.
Yeah, I can quickly just share my screen. Can you give me permission to do that?
Yeah. Yes, you are co-host.
Okay, great. Let me just. Yeah. Hi everybody. Just a quick update on the CBT CAP. This past week, I submitted a PR to the CSI spec repo to get the RPC specification reviewed. So far, yeah, I got some feedback from James DeFelice and also from Humble as well. It seems like I guess like so far like the one feedback around is around like whether like basically the RPC specs like they are again just identical to what we have been talking about for the past couple of weeks. And the main feedback coming back from James is around like do we really need like this mode property. Just a quick a refresher, like initially we thought of using it to distinguish between block and file. I know that during the last working group meeting, Fang also touched a little bit about it. There seems to be some I guess like work in progress in the clarity and definition of what like block file mean. Are we talking about storage level, or are we talking about something that's more in line with what the persistent volume claim or snapshot things mode is? I think what James is saying is like we probably don't need it because they seem to think that like the storage provider should be able to figure it out, like given like the handles and the IDs of the snapshots. So yeah, I told him that I'll bring it back to the group to see like if we all have any thoughts and inputs on that, whether this is something that we can remove now and add it later if needed, or I guess basically it's just I don't have enough like data points around whether like all storage providers will be able to tell just by looking at the snapshot ID or snapshot handles, whether like it can infer that, okay, I know this is a block snapshot, or I know that this is a file snapshot, at the storage level.
So let's see, Fang is not here. I remember last time when he brought this up, we don't really know who can support this yet, right? Even for Isilon, I forgot what he said. Is that?
Yeah, I think he gave an example.
That's Isilon. But does Isilon actually support this? I thought there was a question on who can actually support this. Shanchen, do you remember? Because Shanchen.
I can remember.
Okay.
Wang said the EMC.
Right, the Isilon, that's what he I think called power scale, really. That's the API but I also thought there was something we also talked about, like who can support this. So I thought there was this, but I forgot.
NetApp not here. ONTAP might be able to support this, but
Adelan is here. Does Adelan? I thought they
say on that can support the file.
Adelan, but I don't know if they are interested in this API because I remember Adelan is here.
Yes, I'm on the call. So the question is, if you want to make a distinction between.
No.
So talking about the file,
whether
change file list, do you actually have support for that? I remember your API is not really open or something. You don't want to support this or something.
So
we
do have we do have a proprietary API called SnapDiff that would tell you.
But you I remember you guys were saying you don't really need this. You just every time you take a snapshot, you automatically determine that? So you're not going to implement this one. That's the.
It's not. It's
not a public
API.
API. Yeah, it's a private API that's only exposed to select partners.
So you're not
backup
going to.
vendors.
So you're not going to do that in your CSI driver because your CSI driver is actually open source. Yeah. Okay. I see.
Yeah. I mean, like, as you all mentioned, like the example that Fang used was, from like OneFS. I think it's more like a NFS type of solution. And then, but I guess like James's point is like, regardless, like he's wondering like or he thinks that like the storage provider should be able to infer that and detect that without users having to. And then we kind of talked about this too, right? Like if we put this here, who's going to provide the value? Like does the user need to know? Does the backup software
like we
need
need a little bit more, concrete cases to see who can actually support this. Otherwise, we add this here.
Okay.
We don't really know how to use this.
Yeah, happy to remove it just to avoid like confusions, because I guess it's also a bit overloaded. Like when people see mode, they tend to think of it from like the PVC and the snapshot, like how it is currently being used. So happy to remove it. And then like, if we feel like there's truly a need for user to provide this value, then we can add it later in later.
Right, because I was thinking even if we add this one, I think it will be at most just 2 mode anyway, just block or file. I don't think we could ever have a third mode.
So, one thing I like to make clear is that even for NetApp, even though, we are known for our file services offerings, we do track their DRD blocks, so it's not like that as far as, knowing what changed, we track the DRD blocks, not the DRD files. So,
so you're saying you're track at block level,
the block
level, not at file level?
So, like our our snapshots, or the way we do SnapMirror, which is our replication engine.
Yeah.
That tracks DRD blocks.
Okay, not the files. Okay.
Got it.
Not files.
So maybe you don't really need even if you open your API, you probably still don't need the thing. Okay. I see.
I mean, it all depends on the use case, like the file level tracking is useful for scenarios where you want to do backup and restore on individual files, right? So you say, restore this file to version X or version Y, right? So it's a little different use case than what we've discussed so far with CBT, right? Because here with CBT, we're mainly talking about, these are the DRD blocks, and let's just back these up, right? For more efficient backup.
I wonder, maybe we just.
So like I think it's a different use case. If you want to have, because deep down, I imagine most of these storage vendors. I mean, I can't speak for all, but I think most of them, their snapshot implementation or their replication engine actually is at the block level, not at a file level. There may be some exceptions, but I think many of them are like that.
There are file level snapshots.
There are, but like as far as how they keep track of DRD data, let's say if they have like a log structure file system, right? A log structure file system keeps track of DRD blocks, right?
Hey, Dave, is this similar to how we do it for forecasting? Like
we don't track at the moment, we just go searching. So there's some stuff inside of VMware that did file-based tracking between snapshots. I'm not sure if that's public or not. You can imagine doing it, but it really it is going to be a consequence of how you implemented the snapshotting. So yeah, I mean, I built file systems where it would track that, but many don't. So it's probably more of a future than anything at this point. I don't know if anybody actually has something that would let us do this.
Yeah, I think Xing, now that it's starting to come back to me a little bit as well. I think part of the influence there was I think came out of that brief conversation around how sometimes providers may put a lot of features into one CSI driver. So I was thinking, I think like for example, with AWS, right, they have an EBS CSI driver, and then they have an EFS CSI driver. So with those kind of drivers, like we don't need those.
But those are two drivers. Those are two separate drivers, right? So
yeah, completely separate, right? But sometimes I think like the initial discussion way back was like, what if they put everything into one CSI driver? Then
well, NetApp driver is just one driver supports all. The
okay.
Trident driver, right? So yeah, there are drivers like that. Meta driver.
Yeah. Okay. I think that was kind of what influenced like this property. I guess it sounds like we can just remove it for now. If anything,
I was thinking if there are any, if there are only like two modes, potentially anyway, we could in the future we could just say by default it's a block, and then then we add one flag for file, something like that, right? If we want to add that in the future, we can still just use this message. I was just thinking out loud, but we don't have enough use case for this one. It's not clear how to do this, so this is already pretty complicated. I'll say just start with something simple. Yeah, and also this is still, you see, this is the alpha, right? So we're in CSI spec, this is also alpha. So start with something concrete. I think.
So that sounds good. I can remove that. And then two other items from the review feedback so far. I think like the first one being like again the naming. So like at the CRD level, during our like last working group meetings, we talk about like when a backup software or users create or submit like the volume snapshot delta CR, we are gonna use like a create/post request, just so that we can package up the the inputs into like one single like payload. At the RPC level, like after looking through like the existing specs and all the RPCs, I think like it makes sense if we use like a list type. Again, this is just, for example, naming and semantics. Implementation one, it doesn't make a difference. It's just like, instead of say like a create vol snapshot delta, if I follow like the existing pattern and style in the spec, I think it makes sense to call it a list snapshot delta, just because like, for example, all these fields like max entries and starting token, they're all existing like fields that are like tied to like a list RPC call.
We don't really have, can you so really we just have this one request, right? Just a list, is that right?
Yeah, just one request. So yeah, but like if we let me just do I have to, I do have to cap here, but again, I want to make sure we are all on the same page on this. So design details. So we talk about like how we're not gonna, like, we try to follow the RBAC subject access review type of mechanism, where we don't when we do a create, we submit a create, but we don't actually persist this volume snapshot delta resource.
And then the reason is what we if we don't do a post, we cannot just do a get. Is that's a problem? Because we need to have a post ID first or something, right? Remember there was we discussed.
Yeah, so we talk about the two main reasons being like if we use a get here instead of a post, or like create versus list or get, like there isn't like a way to, there isn't like a clean way to pass in all these parameters, right? Like we had to append them as query parameters to the URL, and then like as like the spec grow, then you have to keep adding more query parameter to URL, and then also at the code level, like it required us to use more like the lower level REST API, on the client side, instead of saying, like controller.create, we do controller.rest something and then post kind of thing. So I think there's some like just some preference there to not go down to like the REST mapping level. So those are the two main reasons.
Okay. Yeah. So I do see. Maybe. We need to ask other reviewers to take a look at this. Definitely the naming. Definitely seems some mismatch here, right? So it's a post here, and then it's a get there. But I do see over there that looks like get make more sense.
Yeah, like because I don't want to.
I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
the main motivation here is that I don't want to say like I don't want to like hey create snapshot delta request, but inside create like we have all these existing fields. Max entry, starting token, they're used everywhere, but only inside lists.
Right. Because otherwise, normally, like if you have a create, you would also have a list, but in that case, then they are kind of identical, because we're not really generating new resources in this case. Once you
exactly
because the snapshots are already created, right? So you're just getting the diffs.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, so I think that's the one main thing there around the naming and semantics. But like again, like when it comes to the code level, at the end of the day, it's still a gRPC call. But I just want to be more consistent with the existing CSI spec. So there's the second, the last item feedback was like I think Humble is Humble on the call?
He's not on the call.
Okay. He just mentioned about adding like a secret reference.
Oh, this is because they so some drivers need to pass this when they retrieve anything from the storage system. Yeah, so you should add that. Just add, so every CSI call should have that now.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw some example.
You can take a look of my PR. I also added that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think your PR has been.
Then you also need to have that in your Kubernetes API should also need to have like a secret reference or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, so this secret would be what? Like, is it like the
credentials, like storage credentials,
storage provider? So like
credentials.
So if I'm on AWS, it would be AWS some secrets in there.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, sure. I can add to it because initially, like, I was under the assumption that like CSI driver would already know like all this credential, but I think
well, it depends on how CSI driver handles it. Some drivers handle it this way through the secrets. Like our driver, we have it through some. We also store that in a secrets, but we're just getting a little bit differently. But if you want to pass it through the query volume call, then or query snapshot call, then you need to do it this way. Yeah, you add those in there.
Okay. Yeah.
CSI back. Yeah.
Cool. Otherwise, like the rest are pretty familiar. Like getting the response. So we talk about response. Inside the response, there is like the volume size and the next token. If there's more, this is where the pagination comes in. And then like and we have a repeated list of change blocks. Between the change block, there's offset. There's the size of the block. And optionally, there is this thing called token. Because one of the feedback was like, how do we make it? So if for someone who is not familiar, for users who is not familiar with CBT, is like they will look at all this response and they'll be like, okay, what can I do with all this, metadata? There's no way to actually get the actual data block. So this token is, I guess, inspired directly by the AWS EBS Direct API. So it's like inside the CBT response, like AWS gives returns something called a token, and then the token is something that can be used to fetch the actual data block using another API endpoint. And the token is ephemeral and it lives for like only like certain number of seconds, I think. And then I know like not all storage provider implements this. So this is added here as an optional field, like for storage provider that doesn't provide token-based retrieval, then like it will be we make it clear in the spec that it's up to them to decide how they want to make use of all this. I think somewhere in here I added or maybe was it inside the it's like the spec.md. Where is it? Okay. Just this little blurb here is saying that the controller plugin does not attempt to retrieve the raw data blocks, because James mentioned to me that that's outside of the scope of CSI. and then it's up to the storage provider to decide what to do with the metadata. If they support like a token-based retrieval method, then it's there inside the response. If that makes sense. So maybe like just take a closer look at this PR and add comments there, and then I can address it there. But otherwise, the rest is pretty familiar. Hopefully, like it's based on what we have been talking about for the past few weeks and months. Any questions about the CSI spec so far? Okay, if not, yeah, I think the one last thing is, so I saw like the issue has been obtained for 1.26. There's some updates that I need to make here. I don't know if Fang is online, but so I can't. So right now, like he's the owner of the issue, so I can't really edit it. Xing, would you be able to somehow assign me or give me permission to change?
Maybe I can change. I don't think I can give you permission. Maybe I can change it. This is the enhancement. I will see. So we just need to change the alpha target to 1.26, right?
Yeah, there's a list of things we need to do.
Right.
I think.
Well, you can assign this to yourself. Assign that you can do, right? You can.
Okay. So
but I think
sure.
This, yeah. Let's see.
Okay, I can try to assign it and then see if it let me edit the description. Or I can ping.
I don't think so. It just.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay.
That's not enough to. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me see if I can modify. I think I got. Yeah, I can. Okay, let me change that.
Okay. So I think they are just
to 26.
Yeah, alpha to
7
1.26
and 28. All right.
Yeah.
I'll add your name here. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Yeah. Otherwise,
hey, can you take a look? Is there anything else we need to update? Oh, we probably should add the CSS backlink here as well.
Sure, I can. Yeah, I can. Maybe I'll need you or Fang to do it. Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay. So yeah, and then yeah. Otherwise, also like I think is it next week is the production readiness review freeze. So I again already ping like John Belameric, and he said he's gonna take a look at it. He helped us to review it last time, and he was the one who asked us to reevaluate the aggregated API server approach.
Okay, yeah, then at least, yeah, I think at least get his feedback on the API server part. The aggregated API server part, right? So that, yeah, just to see.
Yeah. So, okay, yeah, I think otherwise, like finger crossed, hopefully, like we can make it before like the PRR freeze happen, and then get it into the enhancement pipeline before the enhancement freeze happened. So yeah, that's it from me. Does anyone have any questions? Anything in particular I'd like to go through?
Yeah, this is Pankaj. I don't know. I mean, it's not a question, but just trying to get information about how this can be used end to end with both kind of volumes, block as well as file. I think block it is fine. We'll get this change blocks, and on top of that, those can be used. But for file mode volumes.
Yeah, so yeah, file would be another cap. Like this cap is about block level retrievals. I think like fundamentally, like basically we try to make like the aggregated API server as simple as possible. Like it's just like you give it a volume snapshot base and target IDs. It just do some like simple validation to make sure those resources exist, pull out like find out where the CSI driver is, and then if there's any like input parameters in it would pull from this the volume snapshot class, and after that you just package the whole payload and then send it over to the CSI driver, like as shown in this diagram here, and let the CSI driver do its magic. So whether it is block or file, finger crossed, hopefully like like the aggregated API server can continue to remain as simple as possible and let the CSI driver do all the heavy lifting. But yeah, again, at this point, like there might be some. I think that's like I'm just grossly high level oversimplify. We have a change file cap coming up soon. So
sure, got it. So that the file mode would be handled as part of that, basically.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, hopefully it would. What we do here. I think there's no reason why it cannot be reused for file and let the CSI driver do all the heavy lifting. So yeah, cool. Yeah, if folks have any questions or things that they want to go through, feel free to ping me on Slack. Then we can chat. Thanks.
Hey, thanks. Okay, so me for the second cap that we're targeting. The working group cap also we're targeting alpha in 1.26 release. So yeah, so please help review it. This cap actually has been there for quite some time, but I did update that one for 1.26. So all the comments are addressed, just waiting to be reviewed. Let's see. Just maintain. So there's also a corresponding PR in the CSI spec repo. So this is this. Let me actually open this. So in the CSS spec, basically, we just introduced quite a few RPCs for create, delete volume, and create, delete volume group snapshot. And also there is a method for modify volume group. There's also list and get methods. Although I'm not sure if we'll need both list and get. I mean, I think I will only need to call one of them. So get is sufficient, but it's just for completeness. I also added list here, but we'll see. Maybe those can be removed. And also for every method, I also added the secrets. No, there's one main concern also comes from James. He basically, I think his concern basically, his question was like, well, why do we even need to have a group as the first class concept in CSI? We thought, okay, can we just add group name as an attribute on volume? So, but the thing is, if we only do that, then it will be not possible for us to do any operations at the group level, because if it's just everything is just a attribute on a volume, then we have to either have some new method allow us to pass a list of volumes. Otherwise, we just operate on one volume, assume that's like all the volumes are related or something. Right? So there's no way for us to do anything that really at a group level if we do not have this concept. And also, if we only support group snapshot, it may be possible we do not need a volume group, but we still need a volume group snapshot. But we also want to have this concept to be generic enough so that we could extend it to support a replication group in the future. And so for that reason, volume group is also needed. So that's my response. I have not heard from him after that, but that's yeah, other than that, this one is being reviewed. So got this from the Red Hat side. It says that it works for them. Any questions from anyone on this?
I just have a very minor questions around the naming convention. I think we talked about it too in one of the comments. Do I need to prefix like those message name with the controller get?
I think yours.
No, right?
Yours is list, right? I think list is okay.
Okay.
You don't have a get, do you?
No, I don't have a get call.
I think it's only the get one had that.
Okay. So in this case, yeah, so it's like this line 1160. Does that also match? So it's the same one as the one in the RPC. Because in the RPC, like there's no controller. Okay, it's the same. Okay. Okay, because inside the RPC, there's the prefix is missing. I just want to make sure like I don't.
It is missing, but otherwise it should not pass the CI. Okay, let's check, because this is because I did a make before I submit this, right? Where is missing? Okay, let's see.
I think it's near
controller get which one? Controller get volume.
If we go back to the top of the page, near the top of.
How about this one? This
I think it's the first diff there.
Okay,
again,
controller. So it's a get volume group is the one that.
Yeah, get volume. I want to make sure. See, like right here it says get volume. I want to make sure for my up here I'm following. I'm doing the right thing.
No, actually that's actually right. Why this one says get volume group? Which is strange.
Okay, so the controller prefix is only for the get calls.
So okay, let me see. Oh, I see. I think when we do the when we do make, it's only the ones in the code block. That's why this one. Okay. Yes, this one should be consistent. Okay. Yeah, so it should be the same thing. So okay, cool. Fix this one. Let's see. Yeah. So it's not, this one doesn't have it, but then this one has it. Yeah. Okay. Right. So yeah. Okay. Let me check. Let's see. Get volume. So. Yeah, you see this? Yeah, so the controller get volume is like this, right? So yeah, okay. So I'll fix the one at top. I think that one is only in the doc. It's not in the MD, but it's not in the code. File. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So super minor. I just want to make sure like I follow the same convention. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Do you have any comments? Yeah, please help review. So either the cap or the CSS spec, PR, or both. Yeah, if you can help review those, that will be great. Oh, and another change that I just made yesterday was that initially there was a proposed change in the PVC spec. So when we add a PVC to a volume group, there is a new field for the group name. So when you create a new PVC, you add that group name, and that will be added to the group. So now I changed that one to a label. This way, at least in the initial proposal, we don't need any in-tree API changes. So yeah, so that's just it's just for now. All right. Oh, did I? Okay, not sure if I forgot to submit this. Because I forgot to submit my comments. Okay. Okay, Shantian, do you have anything you want to talk about, or is this cover everything?
No, all good. No, good. Fantastic.
Okay. All right then. If there's nothing else, then that's it for today. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.